video is where shall the home be? So let's get into the first quote. In choosing a home, God would have us consider, first of all, the moral and religious influences that will surround us and our families. So before I go any further, I just wanted to stick a pin here. I remember a few years ago when I mentioned to a church sister that we had moved to Scotland, that we had moved to the countryside. She said, "Oh, you've ran to the hills already." And this is generally a sentiment of people when you tell them that you've moved to the countryside. There's a why and confusion. Some people understand and they're supportive. Others are a bit confused and just feel like, oh, is it like a doomsday prepper type of movement? What is it? But the main purpose for moving to a countryside location is for the building of character. And that's not to say that you can't build your character in the city. We know that you can do that. But it's just that being in nature, being in this environment, you know, when you're constantly thinking about what God has made instead of seeing what man has made, it just helps you to stay closer to God in general. At the end of the day, something that I've come to realize from living here is that you can distract yourself. You are your main distraction, right? You can be in the best atmosphere, but it depends on where your mind is at as well, right? But this it's good that we're going into these chapters because hopefully that will help people who had the wrong idea about it to understand that, oh, okay, it's for character building. That makes sense, because at the end of the day, we can't run away from the government. We have bank cards, we have passports, we frequently go to the supermarkets and use our cards. We frequently use our cards online. We're not out here like, oh, the government can't see us now. No, it's not that at all. It's about the fact that we just wanted better for ourselves, a better environment while we had the opportunity. All right, the next quote says, instead of dwelling where only the works of men can be seen, where the sights and sounds frequently suggest thoughts of evil, where turmoil and confusion bring weariness and disquietude, go where you can look upon the works of God. Find rest of spirit in the beauty and quietude and peace of nature. Let the eye rest on the green fields, the groves and the hills. Look up to the blue sky, unobscured by the city's dust and smoke, and breathe the invigorating air of heaven. So as you can see in that beautiful quote, it's about the beauty of this atmosphere. When we're in the city, we see the high rises, we have the hustle and bustle. You know, everyone's just getting their hustle on their way to work, crowded on the tube, all of these things. Like, there's not much around you that's really putting your mind to God. But when you're around this simple environment, like for me personally, being in this simple environment, it has really benefited me a lot. And even though I would be lying if I stood here and said, oh, I've loved every minute of it. Like, there have definitely been times when I've missed the conveniences of the city and miss being that much closer to family and so on. But overall, like, I'm so grateful. This October will be 4 years that we've been here. And if I could do it again, I would, because I see the benefits in terms of like just a self-reflection that we've been able to have as individuals, as a couple, how we've grown. And for my girls, being in a different atmosphere, it's been really lovely coming straight from, you know, South London to the countryside. It is a huge move and it was a big move, but it was well worth it. Trust me, it was really worth it. Jesus came to this earth to accomplish the greatest work ever accomplished among men. He came as God's ambassador to show us how to live so as to secure life's best results. What were the conditions chosen by the infinite Father for his Son? A secluded home in the Galilean hills, a household sustained by honest, self-respecting labor, a life of simplicity, daily conflict with difficulty and hardship, self-sacrifice, economy and patient gladsome service, the hour of study at mother's side, with the open scroll of scripture, the quiet dawn or twilight in the green valley, the holy ministries of nature, the study of creation and providence, and the soul's communion with God. These were the conditions of the early life of Jesus. And I love how she breaks down everything there so beautifully. And you can literally take that as a formula and say, okay, looking at what she mentioned here about Jesus's atmosphere, what can I take from that? And if you're in a position where you're thinking to move, you know, the family home and all of these types of things, if you're in a position to do that now, you know, take heed to this good advice and think carefully about like where best would benefit us as a family, our character, our Christian character. So, and where best would benefit our health as well. Instead of being in the smog and smoke, if we have an option, how about we move somewhere where the air is fresher, you know, better for your lungs, all of that. There are so many benefits of being in and around nature. You don't need to be a Christian to see that. All right, so a verse of encouragement is Psalm chapter 145 verse 5. I will speak of the glorious honor of thy majesty and of thy wondrous works. All right then, bye ladies.